Now, if you're coming to this meeting, if you've got all the awards and the members, you're not going to be here. So the first question I want to put to you, do people here want to be distinguished? Anybody here, put your hand up if you want to be distinguished. And I'd like to see Deborah as well, please. And Tom and Bill show their faces. You all want to be distinguished. Now, the question is why? Why be distinguished? It is a measure that you're performing things properly, that you're serving all aspects of the club. You're doing the admin right. You are getting new members. You are serving the people at the beginning of the path by getting level 1s. You're getting people going through to level 2s and so on. And then at the other end, you're serving the people because they're getting levels 4s and 5s. So to get all those awards across there, you are serving them. And this is a measure of the health of your club that you're doing so. If you don't get the new members, you're going to be short of people to become the committee next year. You're going to be short of those level awards at levels 2 and 3 and 4 next year. So it's all planning forward. But at this time, we've got, what, 5, 6 meetings ahead left of us. We haven't got much time. If you want to be distinguished this year, you have to know what you need to do. And I'm going to share another club, if I may. And this is what, share screen, choose. Why isn't the one I want on the list? I'll go back and make sure it's still open. Yeah, and go back to you and share it again. That one. Share. This is a club in my own area. They got the training done, great. But how are they going to get to be distinguished? We've had a word with them. They have got people that are very nearly at level 1. They've been doing slowly going on getting the speeches done, but they've identified 2 people that can get another 2 level 1s. And if they do that, they will get another goal. We have one person who's got a level 2. One of those level 1s could, because we find out that early enough, could get 3 more speeches in and get that level 2. Hey, that's 4 awards because they've already got the other 2. And we discovered that one of the persons who got level 2 is actually 1 speech away from level 3. Okay, they can do that. But did you know that level 4 is only 2 speeches? So it is possible for that person to get a level 3 and have it here, and then get a level 4, and that will count as you only need 1 person to get a level 4. That'll get another goal. You haven't got enough speeches slots yourself. There are plenty of clubs that will welcome a speaker go along. You only have to ask. People have speakers drop out at the last minute. They're only too willing to get somebody else to come along. If you want to do it, you can do it. If that is your objective, it's planning to do those things. It's planning to get officers trained, obviously, early and the rest of it. Now, I'm not going to go through those, but I'm going to stop share of this for a minute. Put your hands up if you know how to get a level award for somebody. Yes. Does anybody not know how to give somebody a level award? In base camp, And do you all know they have to do it in Club Central as well? Everybody do that, please. If there isn't, please say so. And if it's not your award, you get somebody else to do it, to give you the award, because you can't give your own award. If you want somebody, you don't have to even approve it in Basecamp. If you're tracking the system, and you could say with Easy Speak, and you know the people who've done the speeches, you've seen them do the speeches, even though they haven't gone to Basecamp because perhaps they don't like it, and ticked off and done it, you can still give them that award. But as long as you have the integrity behind it, that you're doing it properly. Now, we can all get there if we want to. It's a matter of planning and having the will to do it. And if you're short of a member, that's will get you another award. That's what you should go for. But you can get those 5 awards by the ways I said, by identifying those individuals. And if you really want it, you can be ruthless and give those people preferential treatment and the encouragement to get that award that you need. So the first thing you need to do is to look at your present population of members and what they've achieved and what they need to get an award. If you can do that, you're on the way to getting your distinguished status. My particular club was distinguished in its first 9 months, present distinguished, and then all the years after that until last year, when we just didn't have enough members. But this year, we're going to have enough members and we're going to be back at present distinguished. Now, I've ranted. You can rant to me. Now, ask me a question if you want to. If not, we'll go to the next speaker and not waste time. So any questions, ask now.
John, when is the system changing to merge the Club Central with Basecamp? I believe that's one of the changes coming in.
I do not have any special knowledge on that topic. Elizabeth is probably in a better position than me to answer that question. I would not, it will not happen before June, which is all we're worried about at the moment. At the moment, we're only worried about June. And
that's okay.
Yeah. We're looking, Tom, at sometime next year. It's not imminent. So it wouldn't happen this year.
Fair enough.
I think Sue was next for a question.
Okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth and John. I wanted to just ask a question about the awards. I think if you have, say, a level 1 award, you can't then jump to level 4 and claim that one, could you? You've got to do 2 and 3 before you can claim your 4.
correct.
So you need to let people, because I know you gave that in the example, but I thought, well, hang on a minute, somebody might not have the lower levels before they get their level 4.
Well,
so we need to ensure that is done in the order that it needs to be done.
In the first year that we had pathways, Elizabeth could get a level 4, but in order to get that level 4 that would actually count on its own, you'd have to get those other awards. So she got those other awards. Yeah, it's true. You've got to have them all. In the old days, you couldn't go on to do level 2, 3, 4, and 5 speeches until you completed the level before, and it had to be signed off, and you had to wait for your VPE to sign off, and you had to kick them and send them emails to say, please sign me off, I've done a level, or so you can move on. That doesn't happen. You can do the projects when something comes about in your world life that is useful to do that.
The other thing is, if you have people doing level 1, you can get them to do level 2 at the same year. And the same with level 3 and level 4. I've got people that want to have finished level 3 and want to complete level 4. As you said, John, it's only a couple of speeches, but they can't, we won't get the brownie points for it this year. We have to wait till next year.
There's a certain amount of gaming goes on towards the end of the year, so you keep awards that you don't need in the bank ready for like July. But Okay, yes.
Mm.
You can, and somebody who's done the competent communicator should be able to get level 3 within a year without any trouble. There's no excuse for people not being able to do the international
Yeah,
speech. They got a CCB club.
But officially, you're not allowed to get level 1 and level 2 in the same year.
Who says that?
That's what I understand.
No,
Right.
No, that's not correct. You can get all your levels. You can get all your levels in 1 year. You can't give them all to they don't want one person fulfilling all 5 levels. I think that's what they do. But you can do all 5 levels
In the
same year,
same
yeah.
club. And in the same club.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
I
sounds
mean,
amazing.
let's be honest, 4 people in the club can get all these education slots between
Yeah.
them in a year.
I always thought, I don't know where I got that, but I thought it was a level 3 couldn't do a level 4 in the same year.
No,
Rubbish.
absolutely not correct.
Rubbish.
Absolutely not correct.
We did it in the very first year, didn't we, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Patricia's hand is up.
Hi, Elizabeth. No, it just tags on there from what the people were discussing. I was meeting with some Toastmasters there just over the Easter break. We were just troubleshooting a few pathways things, and they had earmarked, we'll say, they were saying, I have 4 level 1s. Now, they'd had trouble putting it through, but we worked through that. But what had happened was one member had 2 paths open, and they finished 2 level 1s. But those 2 level 1s for the same person won't show
No.
for
No.
GCP. And I had to explain that to them. So I suppose it's just to make people aware of that member probably would have been more beneficial doing if they were doing presentation mastery, do a level 2 rather than doing a level 1, we'll say in visionary communication. So their strategy, they had strategized, they had done everything.
But it wasn't correct.
Essentially, but it was just the 2 for the the same level. So they're now down a level 1 that they thought they had. And essentially it's a wasted level 1 really, because it's not going forward to the GCP either.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some clubs and districts where they've got 10 level 1s and only 4 are going to count. But what they do, they just put all on at the same time. So it's a little bit of strategy and a little bit of thing. I just want to mention a couple of things for VPEs, because Patricia and I, we're in the same sort of group and we see these. So number 1, when members do their part, do their levels, to close it, they've got to do that before and after assessment. Even if they must do the after assessment, because that's the trigger for closing the project. If they do not do that, they will not see it in Basecamp. So we really have to emphasize that. We mentioned, John mentioned that you've got 3 people, the president, secretary, and VPE, who are the Basecamp managers. They should really be going in at least once or twice a week and actually approving the levels. Some people don't go in for weeks, sometimes months, and they're just stacking up. They need to do that. Thirdly, the system is not a connected system, as we know. So you've got to close off in Basecamp, but you then have to independently go into Club Central and then submit that award. And we've found a lot of people, VPEs, who are not doing that bit. So we're really wanting to emphasize that. And of course, the important one are there are some clubs where people are doing speeches every week for the entire year, and they haven't put the speeches anywhere. Please, please, please put the speeches into Basecamp and actually get the recognition for them, because we need them. Not only do the people need recognition, but they help the club, the area, the division, and the district to get towards distinguished speakers. Of course you can.
Remind people that competition speeches can count as project speeches. So if they've done a speech, you can just somehow fit it into one of the boxes and you've got another speech done. Don't forget that. Yeah, absolutely. And and just to repeat ourselves, that there are clubs all around the world who are desperate for speakers. So if you can't fit in the speeches in your own club, just ask around and either go to another club in your area, go to another club around the world, and that will be another speech you can get in to fulfill your needs. Okay, I'm conscious of time, and Patricia is anxiously waiting
to update us, to tell us all the wonderful help that's available across the district. So Patricia, it's over to you for your portion of the presentation.
Thank you, Elizabeth. As a district, and we've recognized that this can be tricky to navigate, and very often, somebody takes the role of a VPE and they may not have got a sufficient handover from their predecessor. So it takes a bit of time to understand the system and to get used to it and to work towards the goal of achieving distinguished at the very least, President's distinguished at the very best. So what we've been working on this year, Elizabeth, John, myself, and a few others, is a Pathways community of practice, where those of us who have tried and tested, and as Elizabeth said, are wearing the T-shirt for Pathways, are trying to help other Toastmasters to get their knowledge to a sufficient level that they can then pass that knowledge on. It's almost like a pyramid effect, that it goes from you, and then that goes to 2 more people, that goes to 2 more people, so that eventually the issues that we're seeing won't be so cumbersome for members, and it won't be a deterrent for members achieving their best potential and the club achieving what they can achieve. Because at the moment, I think there is a slight lag in that, and it means that, as Elizabeth said, people are doing speeches, but nothing is happening with them. And then that can be disheartening for the member, because they're not getting the sufficient recognition from Toastmasters, and ultimately for the club, they're not getting the recognition that they deserve. And it's great to say, well, we had 10 points theoretically, but if it doesn't show up on the dashboard, then it's not going to be of any benefit to you, and your name won't be there forevermore on the list of President's distinguished clubs. So with the community of practice, we are happy to engage with any member or members and provide, if necessary, one-to-one training. I have met with several Toastmasters on a one-to-one basis. We have just logged in on Zoom. They have shared their screen, and we have troubleshooted the issues. Some I've been able to solve there and then. It might have just been a glitch in the system, or one little piece that somebody didn't know that they had to do. Others I've had to take away and maybe bring back to Elizabeth or one of the other team to see, is this a problem for others? What do we do? How do we get it solved? But ultimately, what people have said was being able to just sit down and have a conversation one-on-one has helped them to get the confidence maybe to navigate the system a little bit more in their own time as well. Sometimes in a group like this, or even a larger group, you mightn't want to put your hand up and say, I didn't know that you had to do it a second time for the DCP, or that you had to put it through separately for the DCP. Or you might think that everybody knows the answer to the question and you're the only one that didn't know that. So the fact that you can do it one-on-one is helpful. And that means then that VPE or that member can go back to their club, can help a member, and hopefully the member that they help can then help their friend do the same thing if they're in trouble. We then piloted earlier on in the year, and we're currently about to finish one of our Pathways Acceleration program. And what we had here was some members who signed up that initially we had said we will get X amount of members through level 1. These are people that they could be experienced Toastmasters that have not come over to Pathways yet, or they could be newer Toastmasters that are just starting on their journey. And the idea was to get them through a level in maybe 3 or 4 weeks, so that they would come, we would show them how to register for the path, we would take them through, they would do a speech, they would get an evaluation, again, they would do another speech, another evaluation, and we would in real time then help them troubleshoot how they go through the process of the pre-test, do their speech, and the post-test to close out the speech. We did a pilot program and we found that was very successful. We had one member there who was quite nervous about Pathways, I would say, was a newish, if I'm not mistaken, Toastmaster, and just needed that little bit of confidence, that little pat on the back to say, you can do this. And, it is doable both in giving the speech and having the confidence to do the speech, but also in navigating the technology. And he left that acceleration program and he went and he entered the competition for his club. and he won the club competition. Now, I don't think he would have done that, we'll say 4 or 5 weeks prior, because to him, Pathways was just, this abstract idea maybe that was on the computer that he was afraid to navigate on his own. And the program we're doing at the moment, we're going to get, I think, Elizabeth, correct me now, because we missed a week for Easter, so I'm a bit hazy. I think we have somebody getting through a level 2, and we're having somebody finish a level 1, I think, if I'm correct. And again, that's giving them the kickstart that they need to reignite their Pathways journey, and for some to start. We can also visit clubs if we're geographically close by, or if you're meeting in a hybrid or online fashion, and provide training. I would be happy to come to any club and speak about Path, if I could do it virtually or in person if I'm near you, and speak about Pathways. Talk about ways to encourage your members to think about Pathway speeches. That can be another barrier. What am I going to talk about? How am I going to fit into the structures of Pathways? And I think, as John said, if you gave a competition speech, that will have to fit into even one of the optionals. And the thing that was said to me very early on in my Pathways journey, and I say to everybody, never lose a speech opportunity. Anything you do in a club, there is a Pathway speech for it. And don't let that slip by. Don't do something and not amalgamate it into Pathways because you're denying yourself the opportunity to finish a level, or to get one step closer to finishing that path. So we are all happy to come and talk to clubs. We'll have more Thursday sessions on Pathways. I think what we have found, Elizabeth, myself, Samesh, that have been doing these sessions, is you go into them maybe with an idea of what you're going to talk about. And then the members log on and they come with their unique set of difficulties and their opinions on what needs to be done, etc. And we have found that sometimes just sitting down and trashing it out in a conversation is the best way of doing it. Because I could come in with a prescribed thing that I'm going to do, but you might have a different set of issues. So sometimes it's 3 or 4 people even, that's all it needs to be, sitting down, discussing what their issues are and helping each other. So I might have a problem in my club, but James's club has already figured that one out, so he can share that with me, and then, vice versa, and somebody else might think of something that the rest of us haven't thought of. So that's the beauty of these. It's communication, really, essentially. And again, the community of practice, I will share an email address. I'm happy to share my personal email address, but we also have a dedicated community of practice email address to just send us a query. If we can answer it there and then we will, or we can log in with one or several people and trash it out. And I also think it's important that those of us that are okay with Pathways, that have navigated the system, that have maybe done a couple of levels, a couple of paths even, are championing Pathways in our clubs, and that we try to have little proteges that next year they can become the Pathways champion. So maybe instead of your club having 1 Pathways champion, next year you could have 2. And that's the only way. It's a snowball effect. I think that's the only way that we're going to crack this and to get every club achieving their full potential is if we impart it to the next person. And some of that is letting people learn for themselves as well. We have to just say to them, look, this is your learning experience. You need to take ownership of it as well. And I think that's very important, because I think during COVID, when we were all online, I know I certainly would say to a member, okay, log on and I will do I will do this for you, essentially, and I will tell you exactly what to do. These are the 10, the 5 or 6 steps. But then the next time, that's fine. Let them do it themselves and see where the pitfalls are, and let them then come to you, because I think that's the only way that we're going to get Pathways understanding, with 90% of our members in our clubs, as if we let people troubleshoot for themselves, come to us with queries, and then we can solve it. And again, I would, and I know it's as we say, we've only 5 or 6 meetings left in the year, but something to think about even for next year. I would say maybe every quarter, you can decide among a committee, have a pathways educationer. Have something just to remind people that pathways is there. You'll capture the new members and you'll remind the people that might be getting a little bit lax with doing stuff for pathways that it exists and what it's all about. So I think that's very important for VPs as well, just so that it's in everybody's mind. So I'm on red. I'm going to sum up that the community of practice is there. Get in contact with us. We're happy to help. If we can't answer something there and then, we will take it away and somebody within the group will definitely have the answer. We're going to have more Thursday sessions. You're more than welcome to come. And I think if I could sum it up in one word, it's communication. Talk to each other, discuss what we've done that's worked well, and don't be afraid to say you don't know something, because that's where the learning happens. You just put your hand up and say, I don't know that, and we can sort it out together. So Elizabeth, I hope I've covered everything there, and I will hand back to you.
Thank you. You covered it extremely well. And I think the point you made, Patricia, is one we really want to get across. There's a lot of help around pathways in District 71. We can do one-to-one, we can do club, we can do online like this, and I think this concept of the community of practice is really important. It's not just a team going around. These are people who have got the expertise, who are driven by excellence, but most importantly, they want to help. And because of that, they've formed this community that's very, very active. So I think you've seen it, you've heard it. So now it's up to you. It's now up to you as VPEs to go out and do this. We could take a couple of questions and then we'll wrap up, because I know some of you want to head off to, there's a contest going on tonight, and I know some people want to go to that. So questions for Patricia, or any other questions for John or myself? Sue, your hand's up.
Yes, I've been trying to access my level 3 on pathways. I mean on Basecamp, but it's not allowing me to get into it at all. All it's coming up is like a white screen, and I don't know if that's an issue or whether I'm doing something completely donkey. Not really sure, but it's been like that for a little while now, so I haven't been able to progress that to be able to claim it.
Sometimes I know my screen goes white if it's an issue with the pop-ups.
Right, I've turned the pop-ups
Which
off.
I don't know, because I know when I log, sorry, Sue, there's just a bit of a lag, sorry.
Oh yeah, I've turned the pop-ups off because I thought that was the problem.
Okay, because I know when I log in on my work laptop, I'll always get a white screen for pathways, but when I log in at home, it's fine. So I thought maybe that was
You have to enable pop-ups.
Enable them. I might have done that as well. I was trying to figure out what to do to get it working. I'll have another go.
Because I think Sue, this is one of those ones where I think it's best if we're on Zoom together and we work on it together. So I'm going to suggest that you park that one and either chase Patricia or myself or John, and we work on it with you, because I think this is one of the ones where we can talk and do at the same time, but we can practice. Not insurmountable. Any more questions for John or myself or Patricia?
Right, Elizabeth, will this community of practice continue into next year? Because
yes,
one of the things,
yes,
it definitely will.
Yes, it will. Because the people who are in it are people who are really dedicated, who are passionate about pathways, and they're going to be there. So I can say yes to that. I think, Patrick, you had your hand up. Am I correct? Or did Patrick French, did you have your hand up?
Hi, Paddy, you're on mute if you want to say something.
Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Paddy.
I was just wondering about recording a speech that someone does as part of a contest. In our case, the person did the speech in the club, and somebody else said that would make a very good competition speech, and she did it in the competition as well. But we already have it recorded as a speech in the club. So does that mean if we record it a second time as a project speech, are we recording it twice then?
I would say if you used it once as a club speech and that's counted. I think to do exactly the same speech and I don't think you can have a second
No.
credit for that. It's the
So
same
in-
speech twice. No.
So
No.
in that case, you couldn't record it as a project
No.
speech. Yes,
No.
that's fine. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's fine. Question answered. Thanks very much.
No worries, Paddy.
Okay, Sue, another one. Is your hand still up?
Oh, no, sorry, that was from before. Let me just pop it down.
Oh my goodness, people are still arriving and we're about to close. Anyone with a question? Oh,
Yvonne.
Yvonne's got her hand up.
I just
And
have
then
a quick question. Can you hear me properly?
Can you?
Perfectly.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for a great evening, by the way. Yes, I just have a quick question. Sometimes to encourage guests to become members, we would encourage them to do an add-on to a topic. But I've since learned during the week that this is not common practice. I'm just wondering, is it common practice, Elizabeth or Patricia, or I don't mind who?
I can tell you, this is common practice in Ireland.
It's
Yes.
common. I was going to say it's a common practice in Ireland. Yeah.
Is it?
Outside of Ireland.
Because I'm
Not in
quite
any
new.
UK clubs.
Yeah, because I suppose I'm a new-ish member, as in 4
Yes.
years. So I don't want to come along making new rules or throwing out the add-ons because they seem enjoyable. But I've learned.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's a wonderful
Okay.
thing to do. It's just different. I mean,
It's just the cultural
Yes,
Toastmasters difference.
Yes. So there's no need for me to throw them out. It's not a thing of the
no,
past.
no,
No.
no, no, not at all.
Thank
No.
you.
I think
No, both
the
systems.
the requirement is that it should only be 1 or 2 add-ons, because after that it's no longer spontaneous.
I agree. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks
The
very
other
much.
thing that's a bit different, Yvonne, is that in the UK, we tend to evaluate each table topic,
Yes.
which isn't so common, I found in the clubs in Ireland, but we
Yes.
evaluate every single table topic, which is interesting.
Okay.
Patricia?
Can I just say one while we're talking about table topics, not to forget also that active listening is in 1 or 2 projects. It's a mandatory one,
Yes.
but in
Yes.
every other one, it's an elective. So that
That's a
anytime
good
you know,
point.
if somebody's a table topics master,
They've
all
got
they
a
need to do
project.
is give a response to what's being said and get
Yes.
an evaluation, and you know that's another project ticked. So don't discount that you can do that as well.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
picking another one off the list.
Thank you.
Okay. Last question from Brian. I think, Brian, you had your hand up.
Yes. We have one member who's quite dyslexic, and we were wondering, is there any way that I can help him or directly help him fill out his path?
I think the answer to that is yes, but how? John, do you want to comment on this before I tell you what because you know you were the ambassador, but I've got my thoughts on this. Do you want to say what you think?
My only comment was, I think there's a way that somebody else can be have the login for the individual, or pro tem, you could just pass the login to him. You know, if he was beside you, to do it for you. If you could let him have your password, and so that it could log on as you, as long as you were, say, on a Zoom session together or side by side. So he was doing what was required. Are you with me?
So it's okay then to log in as that person to fill in that project that they have done.
As long as you got sufficient
Consent.
safeguards.
Yeah.
And I would say yes, because this is an exceptional circumstance. I would obviously mention it, obviously the VPE and the club president, but I would say in such exceptional circumstances, the answer is yes, I would say. And we can discuss further if we need to. Okay, 26 minutes past 7. Madam Coordinator, do you want to start the closure of the session? You're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, John, and Patricia, for, I'm sure, a very, very, very interesting and informative session. I will, however, hand over to Madam PDQ now for the final vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. And each week it's a pleasure to do the vote of thanks. I start with always thanking you for taking the time to come along, because it's really important. Please take what knowledge you've gained back to your clubs. And I hope the message we've got across to you tonight is that we're here to help. We've got the expertise. We're driven by excellence. We're here to help you. I'll even wear the t-shirt if you want me to. So please, please, please leave with that in mind. Secondly, I want to thank our Zoom master, Cameron, who supports us every week. We're really grateful to you. Really appreciate you for that. And I want to appreciate the two speakers, particularly Patricia and John, both pictures of excellence, models of excellence across the district. We really appreciate them. I just want to end on the final note, and of course, our coordinator who works tirelessly every week to make this all happen. We have 2.5 months left. We can do this. All it takes is a little bit of focus, a lot of work. You've got the support. Please, please, please let us try and make this happen in our 50th year.